People often blame themselves for brain rot. Gen Z said to struggle with the focus, attention spans are shrinking, and ADHD diagnoses are rising. The advice, however, is always the same. Be more mindful, use your phone less, go outside more, and if you simply cannot do all of those things, then it's your fault. But if that's exactly what big companies want you to believe in, huge corporations use top scientists, top engineers to compete for your attention. And the question now is, why do they want so badly your attention? Here's the thing, you're not the customer, you are the product. The more time that you spend on an app, the more data they collect about you. That data makes you more valuable to advertisers. Therefore, the more money the platform makes. Last year, TikTok's US revenue hit $16 billion, with the researchers estimating that over $5 billion came from users aged 17 or even younger. The whole system is built to keep you scrolling as long as possible on the apps. Thanks to a lawsuit from Nebraska, we've actually seen TikTok's internal documents. They describe their product as a heavy slot machine effect, and the list of features such as infinite scroll, autoplay, and constant notifications as manipulative. Your phone, therefore your feed, they are basically working as a slot machine. Casinos make most of their money from slot machine because of something called intermittent reinforcement, which is a psychological trick in which rewards are delivered at unpredictable times. What exactly is this intermittent reinforcement and why does it work so well? This principle was first studied by psychologist B.F. Skinner, who found that animals in experiments were far more motivated to perform behavior when rewards were given intermittently rather than consistently. Why? Because the unpredictability creates anticipation and excitement, which keeps us coming back for more. Think about TikTok and think about the For You page. You might see a political video that makes you angry, a fitness page, or even a simple cat silly video. You don't keep scrolling down simply because you enjoy being on TikTok. It's because it's unpredictable. You never know which video you're going to see next. 2025, a study from the University of Bristol had one group switch TikToks as fast as they wanted, another group was limited to 10 switches in 10 minutes, and the control group watched nothing. The limited group got worse at perspective memory, which helps you remember your intentions. The limited group actually improved. The apps and videos were the same, but the pace changed the outcome. YouTube has videos as well, but it's less switching unless you use shorts. TikTok, however, is the most harmful one because it combines them both, which are rapid switchings and also text. The reason why TikTok is so harmful to our brain is because it shrinks attention span, and also most short form content encourages you to stop thinking at all. I want you to compare this for a second to when you, for example, read a book. When you read, you follow the author's intentions, all of their thoughts, page by page. So eventually, your brain starts working along with the author's brain. Think of it as a tiny mental workout. You train yourself to think, focus, and to handle complex ideas. But because all of this requires friction, you might leave. And that's what all of those apps are built on. In a 30 or 60 seconds long video, you don't really get someone's reasonings. You only understand the final product, which is their opinion. You don't follow along the journey. You're not really in touch with this person behind the screen. You don't even know who they are. Therefore, you're not even thinking anymore. You're just collecting other people's opinion. So how can you really stop being their product, being their little science project? There's only one thing that you can do actually, which is stop relying on their willpower. Downloading an app that basically blocks all of your apps on your iPhone doesn't help you either, because you're going to eventually delete that blocking app. The issue is the fact that you are literally addicted to your phone. I personally was addicted to my phone when I was younger. My addiction was so bad that I would have literally just spent 20 minutes in the bathroom just to check my phone, check my Instagram, as if I really cared about those people. And deep down, I didn't really care. I simply was addicted to scrolling, and endless checking. Every time I was going out with my then friends, I would spend the entire hangout with checking my phone and barely speaking. If I had to go out to dinner or to lunch with my parents, I would spend the entire time glued to my phone. I was so addicted and I was so lost that I had completely lost trace of reality. I didn't even know who I was at some point. I was so used to endless scrolling and consuming other people's opinion and point of views that I didn't even have one of my own. When I was meeting other people and I was then asked what was my opinion about a certain topic, I wouldn't know how to answer. There are many reasons why people tend to get addicted, especially to an object. And the main reason is because people are very lonely, and instead of trying to find the comfort among themselves and the people around them, they would much rather find it. All of this simply creates a lot of anxiety and depression, because you come to a point where you are so used to everything being unpredictable that you don't even know how to approach people in real life anymore. When you meet someone, you don't have the chance to swipe up, swipe right, swipe left if you like or don't like them. You have to face them because they are right in front of you. How are you going to face people the moment that you are so used to having this option of constantly running away from something? Because that's what social medias do. Social medias teach you how to always run away from things that you don't like. How many times do you find yourself scrolling away as soon as you see the first 3 seconds in video that doesn't click with you? But how can you know if you like something if you don't even try it in the first place? How can I say that I don't like going to the beach if I have never been there? How can I say that I don't like going hiking if I had never tried it? If you keep running away, you are never even going to build your own character. You're not even going to know who you are. You're going to wake up one day, you're going to realize that you have subconsciously been consuming and just consuming for your whole life, and you're going to be like, I regret every single decision that I have made. Again, you can blame social medias how much you want. Social medias wouldn't be like this if they knew that people weren't so addicted to their phones. Running away is something that I personally did. I used the social medias to hide and to run away from my reality. The moment that I would have put my phone down, I would have had a really bad anxiety attack, because I would have thought, oh my God, what if I missed something? That moment I understood that I was like, okay, something has to change, because I know that this is not how I'm supposed to feel. I then went to my psychologist who had followed me for the previous years, and I was like, this is the issue that I'm having. And she told me that during that time, she had a minimum of 10 more clients around my age with same issues. Do you want to know what happened? My last year in high school was in 2019. Do you know what happened in 2019 before COVID hit? TikTok exploded. Everyone was there. Everyone was making dancing videos, POVs, get ready with me. Everyone was spending their whole time, their whole days on TikTok. I changed because I put my mind to it. I actually first started by simply putting down the phone and not checking it for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and then I would have integrated more minutes every single day. I came to a point where I was able to be 1 hour off of my phone, and I remember that I wanted to celebrate. The first thought that came to mind was, I want to celebrate and I want to post it on my main stories on Instagram and on TikTok as well, so I can share that with the world. But I didn't. If I had posted that video, I would have fallen back into the trap, and I didn't want to fall back into the trap. I celebrated it with my dad. After just a few months, I was able to stay off of my phone for an entire day. And in 2022, I eventually came to the conclusion that I wanted to delete all of my social media. I started from being anxious just by putting down my phone because I didn't want to miss anything, to coming to the conclusion that at the end of the day, I didn't really give a single F. Everything is just a facade on the media. Think of it as a circus. Everyone is showing off, but no one is really living the life that they say that they are. I don't feel like I am ever going to be addicted to social medias again, especially to my phone, because once you experience what the real freedom is, once you experience what the real life outside is, you are never going to want to come back. Because you are going to feel so good that you're going to be like, oh man, how come did I miss it for all of those years? I only focused on me. I focused on my studies, I focused on my business, I focused on my parents and building up a family. And most importantly, I also focused on my mental well-being. I didn't know much when I first logged out of everything, but I knew one thing for certain. I never wanted to feel anxiety over phone ever again. Because that was stupid. It was very scary at first because I was not used to facing people anymore, to meeting them, let alone having a conversation. So that was really hard and tough. But I want you to remember that the first step is always the hardest one. I was going out, I was eating healthy again. I got into cooking. I learned how to cook and how to bake sweets. I learned how to crochet. I got back to my artistic hobbies such as painting, drawing, and I also read tons of books. If I could go back in time, I wouldn't change a thing. Everyone is always like, oh, if I could go back in time, I would probably do this sooner, I would change this, I would change that. Well, I wouldn't change anything because me being glued to my phone, that thing had to happen for me to move forward and to really find myself and to find my path, to find my calling. Things have to happen for you in order to move on. You simply can't wake up one day and be like, okay, I'm going to move on, because you're not going to be conscious about it, because you're not even going to know what you're moving on from. You need to have a breakdown at some point. And that breakdown is going to be the toughest time of your entire life. You're going to feel like you're not going to make out of there. I'm telling you, you are. Because that breakdown moment is the one that really changes your entire life. Because from that moment, you either have two options. You either can stay in your own tunnel and die there, or you can learn from this past experience and you can become a better person. You can become a better version of yourself. You can leave the past behind and create the future. Because I'm telling you, if you stay in your womb, if you're staying in your tunnel, you don't create a future, let alone you see one. Now we are at the end of this video. I really want you to know that I am so proud of you for taking a step forward, because if you clicked on this video, chances are that you know that there's something wrong with you being constantly glued to your phone and addicted to social media. One advice that I want to give you is don't give up. You are going strong, you are going very strong, and I'm so proud of you. If you found this video helpful, then make sure to hit the like button or subscribe. That really helps me a lot and I really appreciate it. I'm going to see you in the next one. In the meantime, stay safe. I love you.